Hey guys, it's your girl Samar. Welcome back to the front line. We're back in the van. Yet another week, guys. And I know y'all are like, Samar, what schedule are we on, right? Listen, guys, I've been taking a little bit of time to make sure I'm hearing Mama, man. Our foundations have been shaken in major ways. And I want to make sure that I'm not participating in what seem like rituals to me. I want to work a little harder at coming to you guys when Mama calls me to. I don't want to get into the habit of it feeling like a ritual. I'm trying to break away from the practices that have been taught to me. Find my own rhythm. And I encourage you to do the same. It's time for some self-reflection, guys. Last week, when we got into, it wasn't last week, that's what we talk about right now, me breaking away from the rituals, right? The week before, guys. So the week before, we got into Genesis 1. And I took the time to read pretty much all of Genesis 1. And while we were in there, we ran across a verse that I don't think we highlighted enough the last time we met. So I'm going to take time this week to highlight it more. Okay. Look at our photo, guys, in the background. Sorry, our illustration. We got Crystal to do that one. And I really like it for this week's lesson. Reason being, woman is always associated with that water, ain't she? Those wells, right? What you got is a woman, right? She's melanated. You see that hair texture. Looking into that water and trying to figure out who she is. She's trying to get back to that. The woman in the reflection. She's trying to understand what that looks like. Because she's so far removed from that right now. They got her out here twerking. They got her out here leaving her kids home alone to party on the weekend. They got her out here confused. I'm a fan of music, guys. And I've thought about bringing in lyrics every week when we meet again, because I think it's kind of fun, And when I thought about this episode, all I could think about is Kendrick Lamar. I got loyalty, got royalty inside my DNA. This is what he said, right? Fair use, YouTube, for the purposes of education and criticism. I am in fact criticizing right now. And I like Kendrick, guys. Believe me, I do. He made a bold claim. He got loyalty, got royalty inside his DNA. Where did he get that from? Who crowned him into that royalty, huh? Who is 10% of his body weight? Well, that would be me. So if he is royalty, then what the hell am I? Whose image am I made in? You already know. When they came here, guys, they came with the paterfamilias, right? They came to take over your chiefs. Look at this photo. They came to destroy. Look at her earring. That looks like the patriarchal cross to me, doesn't it? The cross of the fathers came to your shores. But before that, You had chiefs. And they were wearing skirts. Yeah, they were. And we're going to get to the bottom of it today because I'm tired of the lies. I am tired of you, man. Not my Saracens. I'm tired of you, man, trying to take away my right to dominion. I'm going to take you to this word called chief. Okay? Before we go there, let's go here real quick. Because I want to remind you guys about a verse that we saw last week that we kind of glossed over. Right? Genesis 1:26 through 28. Then God said, let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness, so that they may rule over the fish in the sea. Notice that it says they, right? The birds in the sky, over the livestock, and all the wild animals, over all the creatures that move along the ground. So God created mankind. And see, now this is why my power lies in here, right? My dominion is over the sea. My dominion is over the sky, the livestock, the wild animals, the creatures moving along the ground, right? But as a woman, if I were to invoke tactics, right, that ally or send out these forces, I'm called a witch, right? Right? Remember we talked about this before when we covered that episode, the witch or the healer, right? I'm called a witch when this dominion was given to me, right? Just because you fell, man, who said mine was taken away? Let's keep going. It's given to them. It's they. Watch. So God created mankind. They put his, because we know drunk unk don't like when it say her, but we're going to read it as it is, in his own image. In the image of God, he created them. Right? Now we go back to the plurals over here. We go from they to them. Male and female created them. Right? God blessed them. Once again, we're still plural, and said to them, be fruitful. Now, who the hell is going to be fruitful? Huh? Who's going to be fruitful? This is fertility, guys. Who is carrying the baby here? She is. So she's got to be fruitful. And increase in number. Fill the earth and subdue it. Interesting choice of words. Rule over the fish. Now, rule over the fish in the sea, the birds in the sky, over every living creature that moves on the ground. All right? Dominion was given to them. But every week in some Christian church, they're going to tell you that I don't have no dominion, right? That's what the fathers are going to tell you, right? They're going to say, this lady don't got no dominion, right? My God-given rights are taken away every Sunday, right? Yet over here, dominion's given to them. Genesis 1. So my right to dominion was established right here in Genesis 1. This book, right, guys? Because we're going forward and we're trying to figure out what is this book now to us. This book is his story. This is the conclusion I've come to, guys. We set out to do a Torah study. We found out the book is not necessarily a holy book, man. This book is a history book. That he begot he. And we used some stuff about that book, guys. But now I'm busy trying to figure out, where do I fit in that? And I don't. I don't fit in that book, man. In that book, I'm supposed to just carry the wardrobe. I'm supposed to be the perfumer and the baker. Okay? That book ain't going to tell you half of what we're going to discover today was here when they came with this cross to your shores. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about this chief, right? Let's go back, though, to the folder, because I got to establish once again, for anybody new in the building, how did we get to this chief word and its association to the woman, right? Well, if you read the story of Abraham and Sarah, all right, and you're not regurgitating the lie that they told you in church, and you really read that story, you're going to see Sarai meant contentious woman. Her name is changed to Sarah. So is Abraham's name, right? But you're never going to see that she has to call him Abraham. You know who's got to call her what? Abraham's got to call her Sarah now. And you know what Sarah means? Let's get to the bottom of it. Uh-oh. Princess or the Senate. From the noun, the ruling body. The ruling body, right? Creator was setting that shit straight. Remember, I told you they began to call Adam the Lord, right? Right? Remember, he's the first prophet of Allah. So by the time we get to Abraham, the men are raising up each other. This is this book, the He begot He. This is their history book, okay? The men are raising up each other. Creator's like, There's a covenant. There's everlasting hills. But you only get it when you restore her back to her rightful order. She's a ruler. She's the chief. Don't believe it? Watch this. And when they came to the shores, that's how we were living. All right? Indigenous person, Native American, whatever you want to go by. Okay? That's how we were living here. The name Sarah in the Bible. Sarah, formerly known as Sarai, is the half-sister of Abraham, who became his wife. Note that later Levitical code prohibits marriage between siblings. She becomes the mother of Isaac, who became the father of Jacob, who became Israel. Okay? Sarah's the fourth woman mentioned by name in the Bible, in the first in the line of Seth. Her name appears 4 times, okay, in the Greek New Testament. That's why, if you see it in the New Testament, you know it has to be there for a reason. That's to establish the line, the sovereign line. All right? Otherwise, it's not going to be in there. Okay? They're going to put it in the New Testament because they have to. Just like we saw Rachel in the New Testament, and we do not see Leah. Okay? The name Sarah is identical to the princess, to the name, the meaning princess or noble lady. So take your time to go through this, guys. I don't want to keep y'all all day because I want to prove my point that when they came here, we weren't living the way we're living right now, guys. No way, shape, or form. Check this out. So the chief, right? And I'm going to prove my point, right? Because this word chief, right, is established from the 1300s, right? Highest in rank of order, most important or prominent, supreme, best, placed above the rest, okay? From Old French chief, chief, principal, first. The modern French word for chef. Okay, remember, they stuck us in the kitchen. We became the bakers. Source also of Spanish and Portuguese, cabo, right? Italian, capo, provincial cap. From the Latin caput, head, also leader, guide, chief, person, summit, capital, city. Remember, it's this word showed up, they're saying, in the 1300s. The head, leader, captain, the principal or most important part of anything. From Old French chief, leader, ruler, head of something, capital, city. All right, so we're still going to see this word caput. The meaning head of a clan is attested from 1570. It was later extended to headmen of Native American tribes by 1713. Hold on. We see this word active from the 1300s, right? And now we hear that it is later extended to the headmen of Native American tribes. Why is it later extended? If this is a word that has been in use for almost 400 years by the time we get to the 1700s. Huh? It's been in use since the 1300s, but only used by the men in the 1700s, right? Who was your chief before that? Wake your ass up. Wake your ass up. Who was your commander-in-chief before that? I'm going to show you. Come on, let's get to it. This is what they want to keep from you guys. That actually here, we had some chiefs. We damn sure did. Let's get to the bottom of it. Let's talk about a few of them. Check this out. Native American and First Nations, USA and Canada. Now look at this dumb picture right here. Pay that no mind. Pay that no mind. Does that look like anybody related to us? No. So we know that's not who we talking about, and pay that no mind, right? But you can do yourself a favor and go to this page, Team Queens, and go specifically, you want to go to Native American and First Nations side. They're going to have A through Z listed up here in the menu section, right? And you're going to see, so they said that word wasn't used by the men until the 1700s, right? Who is using this word, chief? Huh? Who is the chief? Well, looks like a lot of women right here. Huh? Yeah, it looks like a lot of women right here. And it looks like some sort of power struggle taking place later in the 1800s right here, right? And then we know it flips the scripts and some imposters show up right here, right? These people right here. But further up, and we're going to get into this Seneca queen right here, right? They are showing us that there were native queens, all right, native chiefs. I really don't like the word queen because that's actually more of an English word. But there were native chiefs right here, right? They said the word was used from the 1300s, and it wasn't until the late to the 1700s that it started being extended to men, right? Do yourself a favor and come to the Team Queen page and check out these chiefs, okay, that happen to be women. We're going to get into a few of them today. This one's from Rhode Island, okay? These women were reigning before the men. This is what they wanted to stifle. She was your wise woman. She was more than likely your doctor. She was your mama. She was your priest. She was your healer. She was your world, man. These mofo comes up in here and turn everything upside down on his head, man. She's no longer your chief, man, and you no longer respect her. Check this out. The origin of the name California. From Beijing to Buenos Aires, from Moscow to Mecca, all around the world, people know of California, and it is a place that exists in our imagination as much as it does a physical location, geographically standing at America's western frontier. California has psychologically come to represent a land of promise, possibility, and opportunity. Over the last century, waves of migrants, from filmmakers to oil men, right? From farmers to .com entrepreneurs, have journeyed to the state in hopes of attaining their own piece of the California dream. But even though the name California is known throughout the world, most people, including its own residents, are unaware of the origin of its name. And this origin story demonstrates that California dream is not a new phenomenon, but rather has existed in the imagination of men and women for hundreds of years. Since the 16th century. The name California derives from the 16th century romance novel, right? You can look at the Bible as a romance novel, I promise you, because it is just men glorifying men. I ain't got no place at the table in that book unless I'm carrying somebody's wardrobe, right? Just a glimmer here and there where I'm judging men, right? Or I'm leading them into battle, but no further detail. I'd have made a whole city of Shira, right? But there's no details about it. Come on, man. This is a romance novel written by men. This is what that book is, all right? It's a romance novel, but now they're talking about a different one. So let's go over here. The name California derives from the 16th century romance novel written by Spanish author named Garcia Ordonez de Montalvo. It was titled, man oh man, here, I'm going to highlight it and you can go look for this because this is a mouthful, right? But it means the exploits of the very powerful Cavalier Esplandian, son of the excellent King Amadis of Gaul. Okay? The novel describes an island very close to the Garden of Eden, full of gold. Now, y'all know this gold would be oil. Okay? Remember I told y'all this is code word for oil. This is what they wanted with California. And I'll do an episode in the future and show you how the oil towers are built into the landscape now. Them old oil towers are still there, but they done sucked out all of the gold from under the ground. This is what made California have all of these earthquakes and destabilize the plates, the tectonic plates underneath the ground. They are, listen, these men are locusts, man. They will keep going until there isn't a stone left. All right? And this is why Mama got to come back. That rock out there, interstellar rock that we keep seeing, ready to smash the toes that they done already showed, looks like a rainbow at a certain angle, right? That rock waiting to smash the toes is coming for a reason, man. These mofos would leave no stone unturned to get to all of this oil. They cannot put a dollar amount on non-renewable energy sources. There's no way to make that profitable. So they have to stick with the oil. This is what they came in there for. They came for that gold rush, the California gold rush. It was not for bar gold, guys. It was for liquid gold, which was ruled by strong and beautiful black women. The island was also populated by griffins, a fantastical lion-eagle hybrid, which the women kept as pets. Any man who found his way onto the island was killed and fed to the griffins. The name of the mythical island, California. Right? They're going to tell you it's a myth. Let's go over here to Wikipedia for a minute because I like this photo this drawing that they use on Wikipedia. It's almost like she's showing you she has the world in her hands. You know what I'm saying? And look at this headdress. This headdress, I'm going to bring in a lady later on that's a Mayan lady. All right? And we got to bring her in for a reason. Because she's married to a man whose name I found in their romance novel. Yeah, it's in their Torah. All right? So we connected modern day figures to people in this book. This is why I keep telling you their book is not that old. It ain't. Yeah, this is their rendering of Califia. Hold on, I have to pause it and unpause it to get away from this. Hold on. Yeah, these are their renderings. And this was the one of Califia. Is the fictional queen of the island of California, first introduced by 16th century poet. They're going to say she's fictional, but yet this name has prevailed. So you make up your mind, all right? Maybe the tales of griffins and things like that perhaps could be fictional, and they could possibly not be. You know what I mean? We don't know what was going on here before they showed up, all right? I'm not ready to dismiss any of it. So this guy wrote a novel. It says The Adventures of Esplandia. Remember, it was that long title. Written around 1510. She's the namesake of the California region, encompassing the U.S. state of California and the Mexican state of Baja California. And Baja California, sir. All right? Since 1500s, right? And they're using the word chief, right? Since the 1300s. So Califia is Chief Califia. That's what they're not telling you, okay? Later on, when we get to the Caribbean chiefs, they're going to go ahead and try to call Nanny. Is it Nanny? Or was it Anacondia? I think it was Nanny. They try to call her a chieftainess. All right? This long word, which this word don't even exist, okay? I'm tired of them trying to dumb the woman down. Watch this. right? And keep adding this ESS mess on the back, right? Now, I done told you before, she is a prophet. She ain't no prophetess, okay? She is a chief. She ain't no chieftainess, nothing. You can keep that ESS mess and get out my face with it. She is probably a god and not a goddess. You see what they keep doing? They keep trying to dumb her down and precede her with a man's head. I don't have a head over me, okay? Genesis 1 said, I have a right to rule too, okay? And the image over me is my mama. That's whose image I'm made in, all right? So don't try to dumb me down. I'm sick of it. If I was a priest, I was a priest, not a priestess. Check it out. It says in the novel, Califia is a pagan warrior queen who ruled over a kingdom of black women living on the island of California, an island off the coast of Asia. Califia is convinced to raise an army of women warriors and sail away from California with a large flock of trained griffins so that she can join a Muslim battle against Christians who are defending Constantinople. In the siege, the griffins harm enemy and friend forces, so they are withdrawn. Califia and her ally, Radiaro, fight in single combat against the Christian leaders, a king and his son, the Knight Esplandian. Califia is bested and taken prisoner, and she converts to Christianity. She marries a cousin of Esplandian and returns with the remainder of her army to California for further adventures. The name Califia was likely formed from the Arabic word. Look, they always got to get married and they always got to be converted to Christianity. Watch as we go forward. This is the mission, all right? To baptize and to make more Christians out of these women so they can take over their power. So you guys can go ahead and read this if you like. We got a lot more ladies to get to. This is just one of a few. But you know, there's this running theme of these women protecting the guard or being the guards, the Amazons, and all of this stuff. So this is coming from somewhere, you know what I'm saying, where women were not viewed as they are today. As a matter of fact, pause, because I want to tell y'all about how when I went to visit Mimi got books, man. Shout out to Mimi. So Mimi whips out, we get on to talking about man and how man is described oddly in the etymology, in which I think I got etymology up. No, I don't. As a featherless, biplantar, something. And I said it's a real strange definition for me to describe man as featherless. And we start messing around with Crystal and get Crystal to make man as feathered and all of this, just being funny, you know. And so Mimi whips out the 1828 Webster Dictionary. And we go to man in this dictionary. And man has, and mind you, this is the compacted 1828 Webster Dictionary. Man has about a half a page describing man. And I said, well, out of curiosity, I wonder what woman looks like. And we go to the definition of women. And shout out to A. A was laughing. That's her husband. And the definition of women, you just gonna have to guys go to that. It was insane. It was a paragraph, and I'm not talking about no long paragraph. I think it's about 4 or 5 sentences. And we were described as 2 words I definitely remember were, and it was 4 major words. And Mimi, you can put this in the comment section for me, please. But I remember, I think 3 of them. One of them being kind, pitiful, and flexible. Okay, she went from being chief to kind, pitiful and flexible. And Mimi, correct me if I'm wrong on any of those words and put them in the comment section for me. People got to see this stuff to believe it. When they came to your shores, this misogyny, because they don't respect their own women. And why you think they run into our men? They don't respect their own women. So you got it made when you wind up with one of ours, because he's going to respect you. He just ain't going to respect us. You know what I mean? This is where we've come to now, since they showed up to our shores. Now we had warrior women here. All right. This is what we had. We had warrior women. Now we got no respect for women. Check this out. There was a Queen Charlotte. Now, I think this is what they're doing on the Bridgerton thing, right? Queen Charlotte. They felt that she was black. She was the wife of King George III. A black branch, right here. A black branch of the Portuguese royal house. The riddle of Queen Charlotte's African ancestry was solved inadvertently as the result of an early investigation into imagery of the Black Magi featured in certain 15th century Flemish paintings of the Christmas narrative. All right, so she's related to the Grand Duke of Burgundy here, but this is a relation to the Portuguese house, right? You got Charlotte. Funny, though, because Charlotte's statue, and this is what the city of Charlotte, North Carolina is named after. These are your chiefs that they are hiding from you, that were here, that probably gave over their power, and this is why they're going to give them a little bit of honor, right? It says they were converted, so if they were converted, they gave over their power. Sorry to say, and I'm not saying that it was an easy decision. It was either that or you burn in a furnace, okay? Look at this woman. Does this look like something you want to see? It looks like a woman swept away. You know, she almost looks like Lady Liberty being blown away, okay? This is what they said about Queen Charlotte, the first black, quote, queen from the Portuguese extension, right? And this was a sculpture that was created by this guy, by this woman over here. No, by this guy over here named Raymond. I wonder, why did they say she's blown away like that? I don't know if they tell us why she looks like that. But, I mean, this looks tragic. Look at her. She's sexualized. Look at her in this dress. Okay, so this is what they were doing, okay? Now, a lot of these ladies I found through Crystal. I just did a ChatGPT search, and I wanted to know about some of these American queens and chiefs that were here, that are gone unspoken of, right? There's this queen named Queen Aliquipa, right? And there's a historical marker in Pittsburgh, an influential leader of the Seneca Nation in this area and an ally of the British during the time of the French and Indian War, encamped near here when George Washington paid respects to her. Right? He had to go pay respects to her. Now, why would a future president have to go and pay respects to this woman? Look. It says George Washington paid respects to her. Sound like you had to go kiss the ring, George Washington. I could be mistaken here, but that's what it sounds like. I'm trying to see what's up here on this. And it kind of looks like a... Now, I wonder if that's a unicorn, because they said the unicorn represented Ephraim. This was in the Pittsburgh region. In fall 1753, a 20-year-old Virginia militia officer named George Washington journeyed into the Ohio country to inform French soldiers there that they were encroaching on British territory. The young Washington kept a journal of his 3-month trip, recording the impressions of the British fur traders, French military officers, and Indians he met along the way. In one such passage, he mentions visiting Queen Aliquipa. I made her a present of a match coat and a bottle of rum, which latter was thought much the best present of the two. Who exactly was Queen Aliquipa, and why did the young militia officer feel it necessary to pay his respects to her, even as he insinuated that she was more interested in drinking than diplomacy? Why would George Washington have to go repay his respects to her? That's right there. How could this officer have to go repay respects to her? Who is this woman? What is she holding? Interesting. Look like Mary and JC. Unfortunately, we know very little about this woman besides Washington's mention of her. There are 2 other tantalizing references to her in contemporary sources. It says in 1748, this guy right here mentions stopping at an Indian town, whereas an old Seneca woman reigns with great authority. Okay? During his stay at Logstown, Weiser was visited by the old Seneca queen. See? She was more than likely a chief, but because they're telling the story, they're going to tell you she was a queen. This woman was a chief. Okay? They're telling the story. So, of course, they're going to put their word there. This is not a word we were using. We were using chief. And we weren't using it for the man prior to the 1700s. Okay? The men are starting to use it. And then she's slowly being disassociated away from that term. It's being hijacked from her. So who's the hijack? Everybody like to throw this word hijack around. Who's the hijack now, sir? Let's keep going. Weiser knew, it says, Weiser knew nothing of the message, but gave her a shirt, pipe, and tobacco as presents. She seemed displeased, because I took not sufficient notice of her in coming down to Logstown. What I told y'all, they didn't think these women mattered. Of course he didn't pay no attention to her, so she took offense to that. The hell you think this is? This is my land. Yeah. Says she thought she was sovereign over the town in which she lived. I wonder why. It says here, what we can gather from these references by Washington, Weiser, and this Celeron is that Aliquipa was an old Seneca woman, widely regarded as a person of influence and power by Indians and colonists alike. While the colonists may have referred to her as a queen in the same manner that they referred to male Indian chiefs as king and Indian villages as castles, scholars today would call her a clan matron. What I told y'all. They're referring to her as queen and giving these men names like king and calling him the chief because they can't understand how this woman is ruling over everything. You learned the hijack ways? And now you can't let go. Now can you? You can't let go because you're power hungry. You like being ruler. You like having dominion over me. You love the Baal worship. Because you're Lord now. I'm no longer the clan matron, okay? You're Lord now. Like many other Indian nations in the Northeast America, right? Like many other, when they came here, many other nations, okay, followed matrilineal kinship patterns, okay? But Samar don't know what the hell she's talking about because the hijack done told you that he was chief. Man, listen, I showed you in Genesis 1, dominion was given to them. He fell. I know that they keep telling you I did too. Show me where she's kicked out. Show me where she's blamed. He's blamed, not her. It says that is to say they determined their relations according to their mother's side of the family. Several related lineages or extended families would make up a clan, and the elder woman of the clan would exercise considerable political influence over the members of that clan. Do I get to do that now? No, this is why Mama's coming back. She's coming to crush that image of a man, right? Of a man. It ain't an image of a woman. Giving them approval to go to war or to make peace, and determining the fate of captives brought back by war parties. See, this is the power she had. I ain't got that power now. He is determining the fate. He don't give birth. He doesn't have a right to. The accounts of Washington indicate clearly that Alakipa and her neighbors consider her a locally powerful woman. Colonial agents and officers felt compelled to retain her good graces, and she felt affronted if their gifts did not properly reflect her status. This power probably derived from her role in the founding of the Indian community known as Alakipa's Town. Alakipa's Town was first identified in 1731, reported by Pennsylvania fur traders on the Indians living in the Allegheny Valley. In the what? In a valley? What did Ephraim have? Hills and valleys, right? At that time, Alakipa's Town was only 4 families, and it was only Seneca Village among the surrounding Delaware and Shawnee communities. However, the report described the town as a great resort of those people, suggesting that Seneca and other Iroquois stopped there when passing through the region to hunt, trade, or make war, farther west and south. Yeah, she had it going on. The Iroquois Confederacy. You see that? You're going to hear that word Confederacy thrown around. Like many other Ohio Indians, Alakipa paid dearly for her alliance with the British during the contentious years of 1753 and 54. After Washington's defeat by French forces at Fort Necessity in July 1754, she and other pro-British Indians moved to Agwick, where Pennsylvania Indian trader and agent George Grogan kept a fortified post. She died there before the end of the year. Alakipa's son, a Seneca war captain known as Newcastle, right? Her son takes over. This is where the Newcastle is started, right here, where the male takes over among Anglo-Americans. He continued in her footsteps. He didn't have the blessing. He took over as a mediator between Indians and colonists. But his career was short-lived. After making 2 peace embassies among Indians in the northern Susquehanna Valley and Iroquois County in 1756, Newcastle fell ill and died in Philadelphia during treaty negotiations he was helping to conduct. By his request, he was laid to rest in the city's Quaker burial grounds. He didn't want to be buried with his own people. This is where this bullshit started. He was initiated into their belief systems where the man, this is the Newcastle, where the man rules the castle. See? What I told you. Remember they said the Indians, where'd it go? Remember they said, here we go. The Indian villages were castles, right? So now we got a new castle because there is a man at the wheel. Look, it's her son. That's not the way it's supposed to go. We already read the women were in control. So you see the power shift right here. And now you see why in the 1700s he becomes chief, right? Yeah, it happened right before your eyes, guys. Check it out. The new castle is established. Very interesting. So, let's go over here. We had these women in the late 1800s right here. This is in my town. This is in my area. This don't even look like a woman, so I don't even know why they're doing that. Oh, that's Chief Victoria. Okay, that wasn't a woman, thankfully. I'm about to say something ain't right here, something ain't right here. But this is Chiricahua, guys. I brought this in because this is the view to the back of the land, guys. The Creator will pull you back in, man, and look where I'm at in the territory of women that were fighting. Alright? These women were fighting. These chiefs. Alright, now I don't know if they were good chiefs or bad chiefs. I don't know. But before these men got here, there were women fighting. Look at this chick here. A medicine woman of the Tonga nation, Toiporina, helped lead a rebellion against Spanish missionaries who had invaded her homeland and within a year of arriving had seized land, beaten tribespeople, and forced them to work in fields. Sound familiar? Sound familiar? Beaten tribespeople and forced them to work where? In the fields. Who was fighting this? This woman. The missionaries had erected San Gabriel Mission in what is now Los Angeles County and had tried to outlaw native culture and assimilate the Tonga tribe into Catholicism. Toiporina watched as the mission drained her village and those around it of its resources. What I told you, they came here for the oil. They're draining the resources. She telling you. Many people died from the diseases brought by the Spanish. Desperation often brought natives to their mission door for survival. Eventually, more than 1,200 native people in the area were baptized and subjected to Spanish rule. Toiporina hit her breaking point when the Spanish governor banned her people's traditional dance to mourn the dead. She joined forces with Nicolas Jose. Now, they said that her people would be put to sleep and be trapped in between the world because she didn't get to do this dance for the dead. I don't know how true this is. I'm just going along with the story. Okay, guys, just follow along. Maybe we were supposed to do this. I don't know, because now we got his story. And I'm not ready to say we weren't or were. I'm just saying, let's just go along with this story. All right, this is a woman here that you never heard of. But she's fighting the Spanish rule. She joined forces with Nicolas Jose, a baptized indigenous man living at the mission. That's her problem right there. In 1785, they devised a plan to take over the mission and expel the Spanish. Toiporina went from village to village, encouraging the residents to join the rebellion. Through her effort, 6 villages rose up in revolt to Spanish rule. The missionaries, however, got wind of the plan. On the night of the attack, they ambushed. Didn't I say she shouldn't have got with this guy right here? Huh? Didn't I say it? Where was he at? Where'd he go? This guy. She shouldn't have got with him because this is the snitch right here. The missionaries, however, got wind of the plan. On the night of the attack, they ambushed Toiporina and the rebel villagers. The rebellion failed and the leaders were imprisoned. At the trial, Toiporina remained defiant and gave a speech denouncing the Spanish. She was imprisoned for a year and a half. After her release, she was baptized as a Christian and spent the rest of her life in exile in Northern California near Monterey. Quote from the trial: "I hate the fathers and all of you for living here on my native soil, for trespassing on the land of my forefathers and despoiling our tribal domains. She said, I hate the fathers and all of you told them to their faces. I hate the fathers. Right? The Padres. What was on Khalifa's earring? The patriarchal cross. She hates the fathers. I do too. For living here on my native soil. Who's on the back of that dollar? Their fathers. I want to talk about this lady. We talked a lot about the North American, right? And what was going on in North America. But in South America, we got a lady that was ruling. And her name is Lady Cabell. And Lady Cabell is married to a man whose name rings a bell. Pun intended, I guess. And we're going to talk about them next week because she's married to this man named Balaam. Cabell, considered the greatest ruler of the late classic period, ruled with her husband Balaam for at least 20 years. She was the military governor of the Wa Kingdom for her family, the imperial house of the Snake King, and she carried the title Kalumte, translated to Supreme Warrior, higher in authority than her husband, the king. But that name, Balaam, stuck out to me, guys. And I think it stuck out for a reason. And I think what we see in the South is this transfer of power from her being the supreme warrior to Balaam. We'll get into it next week, guys. We will get into this next week because this also is a critical clue for where we were. We'll get into it next week, guys. Thanks for tuning in. You best believe I don't call myself chief just to make myself feel good. Right? A lot of men are going to say that I'm hijacking that title. No. It's you who hijacked it from me. It's you. I had authority. I had a right to have dominion. I sure did. And I come from a line of chiefs right here. Sure do. I come from Sarah. And the men over here are Saracens. Much love. Thanks for tuning in, guys. May the one whose image you made in guide you.